Okay, so we're here today to talk about the auto top off system that I made for my reef tank. Tons of auto top off systems out there. This was my version of it. It's cheap. It's got all the features of the expensive stuff, and it works great. So let's look at some of the parts. You got your AC adapter, float switch. Everybody's got one of these on their ATO. Some people have two. I think you only need one. In the tank, I got another one attached to the pump, which also has a carbon filter on it. Also has a flashback arrestor or a one-way valve for the water so that it does not siphon back from the pump if you put the tube under the water level. And we got some tubing. So let's see how we're gonna hook this guy up. I have a bucket over here, a 5-gallon bucket with water in it that we're gonna use for a reservoir. So let's start assembling here. Okay. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take this pump assembly. Now this already has your float switch on here that cuts off the motor if there's not enough water in the reservoir container. Your valve so that you don't siphon water back into your reservoir container, and a carbon filter just so that if your water's sitting here for a while and it gets a little algae or something in it, this will take it right out of there. Now I'll show you how this is all wired up and stuff. With the wiring diagram and a list of parts and all that on my website, which I'll link in the description. So this is wired up to a headphone jack, 3.5. It's got 4 connectors on there, which is important because we got 4 wires. Also, the suction cup on the bottom of this. This is going to keep the pump securely in the water here. Let's see. All right. So before we put it in there, we should put the tube on. The tube's just going to connect to your one-way valve here. Okay. And there we go. Now I'm going to take that and the wire for this thing. I'm going to put it through the lid for my bucket. Okay. And we want to measure out how much tube we're going to need. About that much. Put that through here. And we'll put that lid right on there. Now, we got the tube, which is going to go into the tank. So we just take the tube from the bucket and we're just going to stuff that into the filter here. That way the water that's coming out of there gets filtered twice. Once from the carbon filter inside and once in this filter. So now we have tube going to the tank. And we got the wire here. So that brings us to our control box. Okay, this is what controls everything. This is what's going to tell you what's going on with your ATO. Turn it on and off, whatever. Now the pump is going to go into this little plug right here. Boom. Pump in. Next thing we got to put in the controller is our float switch. Float switch here is just on also on a headphone jack. 3.5 millimeter. This one is a 3 conductor. Now with these float switches, I've had a lot of luck just taking these suction cups that are used to hold airline. Fits on here real nice. Put it around there, you can tighten it up a little bit. And now we're just going to put this right in the tank, and we want the top of it. And my tank's low right now, so I can fill it up. But we want to put the top of this thing where we want the water level to be. So I want the water level right there. So it's going to start filling. Now just make sure it's loose. Boom. Good. Easy peasy. We take that RCA and we plug it into the other side of our controller. Now you'll see I have an extra one here, and this is just going to be 12 volts whenever the pump is on. This will also have 12 volts, otherwise it'll be off. That's for an accessories. I'm thinking about putting a UV sterilizer on the pump as well, so I would use it for that, as well as some other things I could think of. So now we got the float switch in here, we got the pump hooked up. The last thing we need is some power. So we'll plug this guy in, and we'll plug him into the bottom here. We should be ready to go. Let's flip the switch. Oops. Now you can see the switch on the light, or the light on the switch is on. That tells you we're on. This green light tells you that you have enough water in your reservoir. If this light is off, that means there's not enough water in there and the system is not on. This red light on the bottom that's on right now is on because we are pumping water right now. I don't know if you can see it. So the red light comes on when you're pumping. These are they're pretty bright LEDs, and the reason I got them so bright is so that if I can just at a glance I can see if that green light's on, and if it's on I'm good. If it's not, I got to put water in the tank. So right now it's pumping both. It's pumping and there's enough water for it to pump, so it's good to go. Now when this gets up to where the water level's full, that red light goes off. And if I run out of water here, I'll just push it down, turns the whole thing off. So you want the green light on, and the red light tells you that you're pumping. So this is my auto top off system. Again, check the links and my website for complete build instructions. And I think we're also going to be selling these for about $50. So, thank you for watching. Happy innovating.